I see what ho, chaps and chapettes, game chap and birdie here.
Yes.
Yes, fellows, and I do say here we have a rather interesting and quite controversial piece of news for you concerning Minecraft mods, don't we, old chap?
Well, we most certainly do, old chap. Yes, indeed. You see, the makers of the Pixelmon mod were recently caught with their pants down, so to speak.
Really?
Most certainly, for having included code that calls home in their mod.
I say.
Yes, with a malicious and rather snide twist of enabling them to remotely shut down any server of any person they didn't like.
Goodness me, old chap.
Most certainly. Now, to do this, it used a blacklist, which checks the name of the running server against their naughty list, as it were.
Ah.
Yes, and this effectively gave a random collection of individuals on the internet the power to affect your computer remotely.
Indeed, fellows, so just to recap here, the devs of the Pixelmon modification included a way to shut down any Pixelmon server remotely if the name matched their blacklist or naughty list at home, as it were. So therefore, this mod actually dials home, says, hello, here's the server name. Am I bad or am I not?
Most certainly, yes indeed.
Well, of course, that's what it would have done, but you'll see, fellows, it didn't quite turn out like that in the end. Because, of course, if you ask me, that would be just as bad as hacking or a virus, you'll know.
Most certainly, yes indeed. And what's more, a couple of the Mojang devs find out.
Ah.
Most certainly, and they directly approached the mod creators about it, basically saying they didn't think very much of it, and telling them to remove it, you see.
Ah, indeed they did.
Well, they got responses such as, well, it wasn't actually meant for that, and, well, it doesn't work, and, oh, yes, okay, we'll remove it in the next update. Ah.
Oh, well, thank you very much. You'll see, that's right, fellows. Of course, when the mod creators were confronted, they very quickly backed down. Now, this little situation here serves as a reminder that Minecraft mods can contain any code the makers want at all. That means they can, and in many cases will, do things like phone home and report to the makers about you and your computer. Ooh. And there's also the possibility of malicious code being included. And indeed, this has happened in the past, as in the case of a couple of nasty bucket plugins which will eventually find out, you know.
Oh my goodness me, does that mean they could find out where all my gerbil files and notes are?
Your gerbil files and notes?
Yes.
I'm not sure about those, old chap, but certainly various things such as computer information and that sort of thing. And of course, as we've seen here, they'd have the power to remotely control certain things.
Well, hang on a minute. Does that mean that any mod, it could have something in it that meant bad things could happen?
Well, indeed. You'll see, fellows, in this case, they were actually causing a certain command to run, which killed the server if there was a name match.
Aha! So the question is, does this call for the Mojang chaps to start introducing controls on mods, etc., so people can't include nasty, dirty, little, horrible, little, sneaky little features like that?
Well, indeed, that's the question, old chap. Or indeed, should they be forced, the developers forced, only to use a certain modding framework which disallows the use of backdoors and malicious exploits?
Most certainly, because your virus checker and things like that, if you have one, well, you wouldn't find that, would it?
No, indeed. You'll see this is not necessarily classed as a virus as such, but its behaviour is unquestionably undesirable. And indeed, I dare say most Minecraft users are vulnerable to this sort of thing, you know, old chap. They don't have a lot of experience with technical Java coding. I mean, your average Steve, your average digger of diamonds, yes. He doesn't know how Java works and all the different function calls and classes and arrays and whatnot.
He doesn't want to know. Why does he want to know how all that works? I just want to go, do a bit of digging, get me diamonds and all that. I didn't want to think about someone's going to get in and find out what the other week it is.
Thank you, Bertie. Quite easy.
Or find out where my gerbil files are.
No.
Or a stormy tea.
So, fellows, these types, indeed your average Minecraft user, and possibly even you don't want to know about all that rubbish, I say. So, potentially your average Minecraft user is easy prey for unscrupulous coders who perhaps want to make a quick buck and wield some power over their users in the process.
Aha! Now, for those of you that do know a little bit about Java coding or whatever, here's a little picture of the naughty code.
Ah, that's right. Now, as you can see here, fellows, in this case, the piece of code is calling a remote file from a web server, which in this case is, of course, serverlist.php. Now, of course, that is the naughty list that contains all those nasty server names, which for some reason, these chaps have decided that they just don't like.
Ah, well, I suppose you could have your own blacklist of servers you don't like or whatever, but tapping into other people's... Hang on, are they Prism?
Prism, old chap, possibly. Now, indeed, fellows, there was another piece of code which was also posted, as you can see here, which potentially made players who joined these blacklisted servers disconnect on connecting or even get banned.
So if they joined it and they didn't know, they were just, I think I'll just play a nice little game of Minecraft here on this server. Oh, they love me, I'm a very good player, so I never grieve, it's absolutely fine. As soon as they go on there, hey, you're banned forever from this server. Get out of here, you piece of trash.
A piece of what, old chap?
That's a piece of trash, that is.
Piece of trash, yes, you absolute trash. Good night, guys.
Get in here, go.
Well, fellows, I hope you can indeed start to understand the degree of what happened here. This was no ordinary piece of code, and it has raised certain questions about just exactly what is going on inside some of these mods. Now, of course, the question should be asked, should all mods therefore not be open source, old chap?
Well, I don't know, but if they weren't, well, we wouldn't know, would we?
Precisely, that's the danger, old chap, and these are not Mojang-sponsored things. These are things done by independent people, sometimes minors, who have perhaps not quite the same levels of conduct as the Mojang chaps.
Most certainly, you see, and people don't know that, you see. They just go along and play the game and think, that's wonderful. Oh, it's another nice little mod. But they don't know, you see.
That's right, because you'll see, fellows, Java, by its very nature, is a rather dangerous language that is extremely powerful and inherently quite abusable.
But then again, I suppose you don't want to go right over the other side and say, well, no mods are allowed anymore unless they're, well, perhaps verified by Mojang or something.
Yes, indeed, that's of course the other extreme, old chap, and well said. So we have to strike the right balance here, I think.
Most certainly.
Also, fellows, one of the Mojang devs said that any phone home features at all should be opt-in. Well, of course they should, because if the user is not aware of what's going on, then it's almost as bad as hacking, you know. It's a breach of privacy without the user's consent, I say.
Well, most certainly, it's nice to have the choice, you see. It's rather annoying having to keep turning off that snooper whenever you go into the game.
The snooper? Don't say that, old chap.
No.
Well, my word, there you go, fellows. An interesting feature of sorts, which was not necessary to everyone's benefit in a Minecraft mod, and the reaction there too. I dare say we shall have to see where things go from here, old chap.
We most certainly will, but apparently the lid's been put on this one for now.
Yes, for now, while though, of course, we don't know what might happen in the future, I say. There you go then, fellows. Thank you for joining us in this game, Jam and Bertie, and news update bulletin of sorts. And we look forward to seeing you once more on the next exciting, I say. Until then.
Oh, isn't this wonderful? Do you have gerbils on your server?